Welcome, my name is Scott Jones, and this is my Advanced Modelling in the Games Engine model. I decided to base my model off a Transformer character. I wanted to try and push myself in UDK creating a cel-shaded material, and try and get a sort of cartoony effect within Game Engine. Here, as you can see, this is pictures from the show Transformers Armada, and this is the basis for sort of design and coming up with sort of a mood board and coming up with ideas for my own character. From here, I decided to make a Mitsubishi Evo car to base my character off. Here, this is the model I started off with. I decided to start modelling the car first in the hope that I could possibly in the future transform it back into the car, and also I thought about just splitting it up and using it as parts of the body to give a good start of sort of idea for the character. From here, I split it up into different parts of the body. So we have the front door and wheel here as its legs, the back door as its arms, the back bumper as its shoulder pads, the main body, the body of the car, like the roof and top, with the back windows as sort of extra detail to give it a good silhouette. The front of the chest part was the bonnet of the car, and the bumper was for the hips. And this is my main idea, and from here I developed the idea into a more Transformer character. This was my next step. I added the legs and arms and hands and made it more complete and full. Give me a good start to my idea. As you can see, the head isn't finished in this version. I finished this head, however, I wasn't too happy with the shape. I got feedback from lecturers who said to make the shape different and to try and give me pointers towards it. Also at this point I got some feedback on my character. I'd posted it up on the Staff's Games Design website. This was my first post of the character. This was rendered in 3ds Max with the ink and paint, as this was the effect I was going to go for. I then posted up my model. This was the complete head. I wasn't too keen with this and got some feedback. Main feedback was the hands were too small, so the next step was I created the new head and made the hands bigger. The next step was to create the 3D head. So this was the 3D head. It was slightly better. I liked the shape more, so it gave it a better look and feel. Sort of tweaked things here and there to try and get it better. I tried to add some more sort of detail to the back to try and make it more interesting. From there, I'd done a quick test of animation for it to transform into a car. Well, this could be in Game Engine. I wasn't able to get it due to issues such as player control and animation. This was really outside the scope of the module and was something I wanted to try myself, so I might try this at a later date. From there, I developed the character some more and decided to give it a bit more detail, add some more colours. As you can see here, these are still just basic black colours. Different shapes, different colours. The head had kept the same more or less. The main thing I did do here was add chamfers. This was due to feedback from more lecturers saying that I asked them how to improve it, and they said maybe add some chamfers here and there. So that's what I did, and I sort of added more details around the legs, arms, and the back of the legs. I changed the spine column to black squares just because I didn't like the yellow on the spine. It just gave it too much of a human feel instead of a robotic one. But yes, I still wanted some sort of detail. So this was the main model that I used in the end. From there, I used a high poly version for the normals. The issue here was the model isn't in quads, and so there's a lot of tries, and mesh smooth as such didn't work too well. I controlled the mesh smooth by smoothing groups to keep it relatively good and where I wanted it to be more round, it would stay more round, and where I wanted it to be flat and hard cornered, it was still hard cornered. There were a few issues, as we can see hopefully here. Round here we got some sort of pinching and a bit more pinching round here. This caused errors on the normal map. So from here, after baking it out in 3ds Max, I took it into Photoshop and fixed all the errors by hand. This was a slow process, but was probably quicker than remaking the model in complete quads. I rigged the character. Well, first of all, I'd unwrapped him. The unwrap actually took quite some time. It came out quite nasty when I first started. However, after a few tries, it came out quite nice, and I was able to pack it really well and keep most of the UV. From there, I rigged the character so it would animate properly in Unreal. Waiting using the bone. I used a skin modifier to animate the bones and animate the character through the bones using the UT mouse male rig. I first of all decided to try the epic robot rig. However, the hands didn't have fingers as such and broke the hands because they weren't in the right position. As the robot skeleton didn't have biped in it, it didn't. You wasn't able to move or change the shape of the rig, so I decided to swap it out for the UT male rig, where I could use the pose figure mode in biped options to pose the character more to where I wanted it to be. From there, I created this transformer. I selected by polygon smoothing groups and changed the colour per smoothing group. This was then used to help get an outline for the texture in the material. I exported this to Photoshop and used border and selected each section and expanded the border of that selection. If we take a quick look in Photoshop, this is what was created from the unwrap. This was the smooth group export. From here, I selected each section and created a border. And then expanded it using the select. Well, using select like this, and then under select there was expand border. This allowed me to get 3 pixels either edge of this of the edges, and gave me the edge outline I needed for first of all the mask and second of all the texture on it. This was the mask used in the end to mask out parts of the material, which we'll come to when we see UDK. From there, the diffuse was made. This was my final diffuse. I used grunge maps to add some dirt to it all. I also imported the edge lines to get to get the sort of cell shaded effect, and also some extra detail through cracks. This was all based off this base material, which was just simple colours. From there, I opened up the normal map, made the normal map, and fixed it. And this is the fixed version. There's still a few issues, but overall it came out alright. From there, I added the normals for the cracks, using the UDK E3D UDK Advanced Materials tutorial as a guide on how to merge these two together, the two normal maps. We'll come back to that one in a bit. Right, so this was the normal maps. From here, I imported it into UDK. This is the quick leveler made. In here we have a trigger node, a path node, which is the apple there, a dynamic spotlight, and a particle emitter, along with a static light. First thing first, I made a edge detection shader. This was plugged into the post-processing effect to give the entire world a sort of outlined effect. This here uses scene depth and gets 3 different lots of scene depth. Does calculations to them to get the edge of the actual mesh and calculate the depth of it, to get an outline combined together to get a grey outline and a black center. From here, this part initially didn't work. After searching on Google, I was able to get the there's a post on E3D where I got the tutorial from on how to create this, on how to fix it. This was my initial problem, and it was mainly because in the engine it had screen position and not world position. From here, I also was able to find this part, which allowed me to view the materials and the world instead of having it black and filled in, to create the edge effect that I wanted. From there, I was able to create the edge detection. So there was to mask out the world so you can see it better, see it completely, and an if statement saying if it was black, then this would show. It would show the world instead of the outline in black. From there,